Hi, Charles.
Hi, Magdi. Just a question that I was wondering, is there a degree of effectiveness towards transmission of information, whether the student is present with the teacher or on Zoom call with the teacher while the teacher is present, or does it get like less and less as you get to the recorded YouTube videos? I mean, I get a lot out of this and I get a lot out of the other, but I wonder if you found that that's more effective for you and your students to be in person.
Your, your, your core teacher is your love for truth, your, your passion, your interest, how you are approaching uh, the teaching. Then there is an increased receptivity when inwardly we're like the sponge, like a sponge. We're absorbing, we're ready to absorb. I think in being in the physical presence of a teacher, there is an additional dynamic. This, it has to do in part with the body language and the interaction, the variety of interactions that we experience, as well as also experiencing the teacher in the flesh, in a way, how they move, how they speak and interact in a variety of situations. And when we are in the presence of physical presence with a teacher during a teaching, during a talk, there is also the entire the movement of the body, how it's moving and how it's expressing, and it's wonderful to have this virtual medium, because it is possible to also explore questions we may have with ease right from our living room. And at the same time, it is possible to taste the piece if we are like a sponge, if we are really squeezed from the past, or if we're open and available and thirsty and interested. And I would say it's also helpful to read some of the scriptures, not so much the scriptures that explain or that present Advaita Vedanta with all its various terms and distinctions and clarifications. No, but to read the words of the sages. Of course, those sages are dead, So they're not around to answer your question, to clarify what you are reading, or to correct maybe the translation, or so a living sage, a living teacher is your best bet. And yes, as much as possible, if possible, to rub shoulders with the teacher, to experience them as a person, experience them as a friend, as a neighbor, not only as a teacher, but beyond that. Because the teaching is living itself through the teacher in everything that they say and do. It's very subtle. And in interacting with the teacher, you also may get triggered. You may disagree. How did they do this? Why are they doing this? And how come they're ignoring me, or whatever? There may be all sorts of triggers. And all of which are very helpful, of course, because they point directly to certain aspects of your being where your freedom is compromised, where you're still experiencing some incompleteness, So we do the best we can with the means that are available to us. But it's really important to value the teaching, not to make it a banal, like one more thing that I could enjoy. No. In a way, it has to take priority in your life, not just to sort of park yourself next to the teacher, but to take the teaching at heart and live it in every possible way that you can. Because the other option is always available to you, which is unhappiness.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Met with some people today, and they talked about transmission, and the teacher sometimes able to literally transmit this energy they have to this student, and it just got me thinking intellectually about the importance of being present. I know that Zoom definitely can work and be very effective. So I appreciate the answer.
Mm-hmm. when we are in the presence of a friend, is something that is different from being alone. There is an effect, there is something that's affected, and vice versa. There is a mirroring aspect in presence, in physical presence. The transmission is always on. The transmitter is always on. There is no off switch to the transmitter. The problem is with the receiver. Sometimes the receiver turns off the switch. But when the switch is not turned off, the transmission is on and the reception is on. And the transmission doesn't come from the teacher. It comes from consciousness. And yet I remember years ago, being in a brief conversation with Francis, sitting on a bench in Germany during a retreat. We exchanged very, very few words. But there was a profound I don't know, understanding, profound, something profound. It's a self-recognition. It's, in a way, one could say it's very simple. But in this very simple understanding, order is restored. So your path takes you where you need to be, in the company of the friend that you need to be in company of or with.
Thank you.